Last class, we were working on graphing lines that were in slope-intercept form. And today we're going to look at equations that are in the standard form. So the standard form of the equation is ax plus by equals c. In other words, your x term plus your y term equals your constant. And that's the standard form. And then we're also going to look at how to graph lines if they're in standard form, and how to find the x and the y-intercept of lines. So let's start with the x and the y-intercept. You already know from the slope-intercept form that our y-intercept is where our line crosses the y-axis. That's our y-intercept. So if we were to put this down, our y-intercept is the value of y, so we'll have a value in the y column when our x value is 0. In other words, we haven't gone anywhere on the x-axis, so we were at 0, we just went up to the y value. Now for our x-intercept, we're going out on the x-axis, so we're going to have a value in the x place, but our y, we're not going up and down, our y value is going to be 0. So anytime it asks you to find either an x-intercept or a y-intercept, you just put in 0 for the other variable and you can find the intercept. So now let's just go ahead and practice finding our x and our y-intercept. Before we do that, you need to know one more piece of vocabulary. Piece of vocabulary called the zero of a function. The zero of our function is the x-intercept. The zero of the function is any time our function or our line touches the x-axis or crosses it. That's called a zero. Okay, so on number 1, we need to find our x-intercept. So we're going to go to our x-axis, and our line is touching the x-axis at 30. So 30, comma 0. And then our y-intercept, we're going to look on the y-axis, and our graph is touching the y-axis at 25. So 0, comma 25. And then the 0 of our function is where our function is touching the x-axis. The 0 of our function is 30. Okay, so now I want you to pause the video and find the x-intercept, y-intercept, and 0 for number 2 and number 3, and then start it back up to check your answer. So those were very straightforward. Just check and make sure you got the answers right. Now on 4, 5, and 6, they want us to find the 0 of the function, and we know that the 0 is the x-intercept. So if we're finding the x-intercept, we're finding the value for x, so we're going to plug in a 0 for our y. So in each one of these equations, we're going to find the x-intercept by plugging in a 0 for y. So what I want you to do, well, we'll do number 4 together, and then I'm going to have you do 5 and 6 on your own. So on number 4, if we're finding our x-intercept, we're going to have 2x plus 3, but we're going to go ahead and plug in 0 for our y equals negative 9. Okay, so we already know 3 times 0 crosses out, so we've got 2x equals negative 9. When we divide by 2, our 0, our x-intercept is negative 9 over 2. Okay, so I want you to follow the same process on number 5 and number 6. Pause the video while you're doing it and then check back for the answers. Okay, so just check your answers and make sure that you did all the math correct. And then on number 7, our last one on this video, we have a situation with an artist renting his booth at an art show. So it's asking you to find the 0 of this function and explain what it means. So pause your video while you're doing the work and then check back for the explanation. So when you plugged in a 0 for y and solved it for x, you came out with x equals 6. But now we need to think about that in the situation. And what that means is that artist is going to have to sell 6 paintings just to pay back the cost of renting the booth. So that's his break-even point. After that 6, he'll start making a profit.